So the band's back together, not the complete band, but at least 2 people. Yes, I got to talk to Georgie from Nothing Rhymes with Murder. While Kate was away, I got to steal some time, and I love these gals. They're the best. If you haven't listened to Nothing Rhymes with Murder, what are you doing with your life? You need to get it in your ear holes and get caught up because they've been away, and so they'll be releasing more things soon, and you want to be up to date. But while Kate was away, Georgie and I chatted about friendship, and I always love talking to them because I feel like we always have these great conversations about friendship. And this time, Georgie and I talked about how friendships change as you get older, which links back to Age Ain't Nothing But a Number and the episode Dos and Blows, where I talked about age with Bia and Ashley. But this one I think is important, is that this idea of, do friends decrease as we get older? And this is in line with an article from Vox.com that was recently posted, talked about that the 30s are the decade in which we lose friends the most. And I wondered if that might be related to what Georgie and I talk about. So here's Georgie. Hi, Georgie.
Hi, Alysa. How are you?
Good. Now that we're actually recording, things are off to a splendid start.
Yes. I mean, that is the first step in podcasting. Record yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was my fault. So hello over there, friend. How are you doing?
Very, very good. You've made me paranoid about whether I'm recording, but I am. It's fine. It's fine.
We'll just do 15 minutes of, are you recording? No. Are you? Yes. No? Yes. I think the levels are good.
We're all good. We're recording.
Yay.
Yay.
Well, I'm just so glad to be able to chat. You know, we chat online a bit, and the last time I saw you, I think, really, other than me watching you and Kate do live stuff, so it feels like I see you and you might not exactly see me, was when we recorded back in January. So it's great to see you again and talk to you, and to know that I have another international friend
of course.
In London.
We
Hello,
were just saying, I can't
friend.
believe how long it's been since we recorded. And how close we came to meeting. You and I we were like ships in the night at one point.
It was. So you were going to be in Prague.
I was in Prague, yeah.
Yeah, and we were there at different times. So I was trying to figure out a way to get over to London. And I was in Paris with my friend Tara for a week. And then we traveled by train through Germany to Prague. And the train got me sick. And I had a sinus infection until... Oh gosh, I was sick. I had 2 rounds of antibiotics when I got home, so I could not make it over to see you.
Gosh.
And it was really sad.
I know, we were so sad. We were so excited. But
well, it's going to happen. My dad and I keep talking about an England trip for next summer, so
oh my gosh,
you better not be going anywhere during that
where
time.
are we going to go, really? Kate spent
All
90% of our lives in this flat. Although not at the moment. At the moment, it's an anomaly where we haven't seen each other in a month.
Yeah, and so I'm some jacked up version of a stand-in for Kate. Hi.
And you are doing a fantastic job.
Thank you. So we wanted to chat, though. We were going to talk about friendship. Now, I just hit 40, and you're going to hit 30, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Big 3-0.
The big 3-0, and I'm the big 4-0, so whoop, whoop.
I can't believe that you're 40. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you look like you're in your 20s, and I cannot... When I realized it, I was like, what in the actual fuck? Is she a vampire?
Yes, my parents are about 200 years old, and I'm about 50 years... No, I'm... Oh my God, that'd be amazing. I'm thinking Twilight vampires. I could just fly around and be all sparkly.
I mean, you are all sparkly. Look at you, please.
Thank you. I appreciate that. No, my mom I got it from my mom. I have really good genes. So my brother Jeff and I look a lot younger than we are. And it's like magic. And some people are like, but how? And I say, well, I don't wear makeup. So, maybe that's part of it too, is being skincare.
Skincare, darling.
Yes, you gotta stay on top of it. So, but we wanted to talk about sort of how friendships change over sort of the life. And I know you have some thoughts about turning 30 and friendship. What were you thinking about how your friendships are changing or might be changing now that you're turning 30?
Well, I think, like I mentioned to you earlier, but I think, I'm in our friendship group. I'm one of the oldest. So I'm turning 30 before most of the others, but, they're not far behind me. So we've been chatting a lot about that. And I think it's just, I've really been struck, especially this year, but in the last couple of years of like the value of the friends that I have, because I think I've been like, one of my like identifiers is like, oh, Georgie stays in touch with everyone. She's really good at staying in touch with people, which I kind of like as an identifier, because I do have like my best friend Alysa I've known since nursery. Literally, I've known her longer than my younger sister.
Wow.
It's ridiculous.
That's cool.
But equally, I think sometimes I've done it to my detriment, where maybe I've put in so much effort in friendships that maybe are not giving me the same level back.
Yeah.
And I feel like in the last couple of years, there's been a massive shift with me where I think I've placed value on friendship in the wrong places. It's like the value is not in quantity, it's about quality. And that sounds really obvious, but I think when you're younger, it's really, you're kind of like the popular person is the person that has loads of friends. And then when you get older, you're like, God, I cannot handle all of these people in my life. I'm so tired. I only have time for like 5 people. But for me, it's been about coming to terms with that and actually being okay with it, because I think I feel a lot of guilt around that. And I don't know whether that's maybe my own narcissism a little bit, or just like neediness. I don't know what it is, but I think it's taken a while to be like, okay, it's okay that you're not friends with everyone you've met in your entire life ever.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, like, I mean, I've always enjoyed friendships and being friendly and making friends, or just connections. Like, if I'm at camp for a week, do I want to be by myself when I was a kid, or do I want to try to make some friends when I'm here for this time? But I would say that, I would say that as an identifier as well, is that, I would hope so. I have a friendship podcast that people might see me as someone who has friends.
Alysa is so unfriendly.
That would be so
this
awkward.
This is all so awkward.
Her podcast is totally not on brand. But when I was in my 20s, I do think that when I would start to have conflicts in my friendships, it's like, first off, thinking that friends shouldn't have any conflict whatsoever. And that I had a friend who sort of crossed a boundary, and I was like, is this what's supposed to be happening? But she's my friend, and I have to be everything to her, and she's everything to me. And I remember this friend I worked with, she's a little bit older than me. Her name is Kat. I met her at my job, and she said, you don't have to be everything to everyone. You can miss a few phone calls. You can, you can have like a sports friend, and all you do is talk about sports. And so that actually stuck with me, and it's been like 18 years since that was told to me. And that was something that was really important to me, in realizing that friendship doesn't have to be everything. I don't have to be friends with everyone. They don't all have to be friends with me. And if I do have friends, they can be in different ways. It can be, like I said, like friends that we talk about books with, or you don't have to stay connected. And so I think that's actually really important to learn. And maybe that is something that comes with age. That's something I think I started to realize in my 20s. And then you start focusing on the friends that are really important to you, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think as you get older as well, your time becomes more precious. And again, it seems like something obvious, but I think it's one of those things that everyone starts to feel quite strongly as they get older. When you're younger, all you have is time, and you have time to fuck about with whoever in the park and, get out into all sorts of mischief. But when you get older, it's like, you know what, man, I got life stuff to do. I got adult stuff to do, and I'm tired as all hell. So the time I do have for my friends, it better be fucking worth it.
So I was just like fucking around in the park, and I'm like, and I don't want to get off my couch. 40 is great.
But that's the thing, is like, I feel like I'm now like okay with it. I'm okay with, and I feel like I'm a happier person because of it. Because the people I do invest my time in, I feel like I get something out of it too. I think that's my issue. I feel like I put in so much into some friendships, and I wouldn't get necessarily anything out of it. Or I'd end up feeling shitty because I feel like I'd been, the rock, and I would bend over backwards for these people, and then I wouldn't necessarily get it back. Or even just like people just like wouldn't put in the same amount of effort. And
yeah.
And then I just came to a point where like, it's not like we're in an argument or we're falling out, but I'm like, well, why am I doing this to myself then? You know, if it's not a priority for them and all it does is make me upset, then why am I making it a priority for myself? When there's 100 other things I probably could be channeling that energy into.
Yeah. Whether it's just sitting on the couch and doing nothing. Like,
I mean, hell yes, the TV has gotten super good.
We are literally in the golden age of I don't have time for all my TV, let alone time for all my friends, right? So, but I think that's a really good point, though. It's that realization that people give us information, and it might be that they're cool with you. They like you. They're like, you're great. I just don't have time for you. But they might not come out and just say that, right? Yeah. And so then you're like, you might feel strung along or that sort of thing, or you're just not getting what you want out of it. And it's almost like, I'm sorry, I don't have time for you would be a lot clearer and probably less hurtful in the long run than just people not saying anything at all. And I think, you know, when we're younger, there's probably people who are just dicks about it, you know what I mean? And they get what they want. They just want to get out of relationships what they want. But I think other people are probably having the same realization as you.
Oh, 100%.
And it's like everyone's just trying to work it out. And that I feel like now it's like, okay, what are you into? I'm into that too. Okay, let's meet up and do that thing from 6 to 7 on this night. And then the rest of the time, we're cool.
Totally. And I feel like the flip side as well is like I've learned to not put in that level of effort on relationships that maybe don't benefit my life, but I also feel like I really now understand the value of those friendships that are important to me. Like Kate, who does the podcast with me. You know, she is, Kate, I miss you so much. I haven't seen her in so goddamn long. I mean, we may have a slightly unhealthy codependent relationship, but that's for another episode, I feel.
Well, I'll have you guys come back on. It's fine.
Yeah, we'll do like a therapy session, but like, why are you two so needy? And I'll be like, Kate, what do you think?
That's amazing.
But that is like I mean, obviously a big part of it is because we do the podcast, but like putting that level of effort into a friendship, I think is quite unusual. Like we've talked about this before, I think even with you, but we see each other every single week for the most part, and we talk every single day. And I don't know how many friends actually as an adult you do that with. But I don't think I could have gotten through the last couple of years without her. Yeah. And certainly with the rest of my friends, I feel like, and I think I'm kind of like saying the obvious, I guess, but I think the older you get, you realize that the point of your friends is they get to be the family that you choose effectively.
Yeah.
And that is something that's very easy to say, but I think is more powerful than people maybe give it.
And that's what I was going to say. You might say it seems obvious, but I think that with friendship, a lot seems obvious, but it's still something that we don't talk about as much, or it's not at the forefront. And so it's like saying it and someone hearing you talk about this now on the podcast, they'll be like, yes, this helps me. Like I've thought this myself and I just thought it was obvious, but you know, it's just one of those things. Like I think we just need to hear it more and more.
Oh, 100%. I think that's the other thing is that we don't talk about it, and we don't, maybe, especially if you're just friends, you don't tell each other that you love them or how much they mean to you. But especially now, like the world is hard now and it's dark and it's confusing, and we need this more than ever. So like, you know, me and Kate are very much of the like, fucking say it loud and as loud as you can, because there's got to be some light like in this dark, shadowy world that we're navigating. And, you know,
it's unprecedented. The world we're living in. Well, maybe not. I mean, I've only lived 40 years of this world, but
well, at least in our lifetime.
Yes, exactly. And so, yeah, any lightness or brightness there is, I say, hold on to it. And
absolutely.
And, you know, make it brighter if you can. And if that's through telling someone how much you love them, then like, let's do it. You know, you just never know what's going to happen. And I just think that it doesn't take away from any friendships that you might have. Like there might be someone listening going, does Georgie not think that we're friends?
But that's the other thing as well, is like, that's one thing I've learned is you don't have to be best friends with everyone. And that doesn't mean that your friendships with those people aren't valuable.
Yes.
Like, it's okay that I'm not best friends with every single fucking person in the world, but it doesn't mean that that person that I go rock climbing with, or I go to the movies with, or I go gaming, whatever it is, they all add value to me. And like, that's an amazing thing, no? And all of that should be celebrated.
Yeah. And I think that goes back to, I think it's Mindy Kaling on the Mindy Project that talks about the tiers of friendship. And so, you know, Kate and what was your friend's name that you've known since nursery school?
Alysa.
Yes. They might be like on the top tier, and then, you know, you have people on, and it's all good. Like, you can't be, it's like when, this is the thing, when people get mad that, like, let's say there's someone who likes you, like a guy has a crush on me, let's say, and I'm like, oh, I'm not interested, and they get mad, and I'm like, well, I'm sorry, I'm not interested, but there's how many people in this world?
Yeah.
I can't like the odds of me liking everyone or having that one connection are, you know, pretty slim. And I think with friends, we have more of those, and that's great, but it's one of those things, like, there's lots of people to be friends with. There's lots of, you know, there's people that I only see at school. There's only people I see at this place, and they're great friendships, but, you know, maybe, but they're not Kate. And I mean, you're probably thinking you're Kate, but I also have a Kate. We both have Kates.
Kate. We already said that Kates make the best friends.
Yeah, Kates make the best friends. But I think Georgie and Alysa are pretty cool too. I just want to put that out there.
Like, if the Kates want to maybe send us some love, that'd be okay too. No, but I think it's true. So it's like it's the fact that, like, not everyone has to be your best friend, and also that you won't be friends with everyone, and that's okay. Yeah. I think it took me a long time to, like, get okay with the idea that, like, I'm not going to be friends with everyone, and not everyone's going to love me. Like, that's fine.
What?
Like, there's a million different types of people in the world. There's a really great, like, it's not even a meme, but it's like some internet graphic that says you can't make everyone happy. You are not a taco. And that to me is like my soul, where I was like, you are so wise, cartoon taco.
I'm going to find that meme.
I will send it to you. You cannot make everyone happy. You are not a taco.
Exactly. And so it's like maybe being able to realize that and being okay with it. But also, I think that it's important to note that it can be really hard to make friends, especially as adults. And so there are probably people out there who are struggling, and that they might be one of those people on a different tier, for example, or be good friends with someone at work, and then they might be interested in it being friends outside of work, and it might not go that way. And, you know, it's okay. It's just like, keep on plugging away at making friends.
Oh yeah. I mean, to be honest, like, when I was younger, I was the most painfully shy person in the world. Like, and a lot of people find it odd when they hear me talk now, but I was like to the point where I just, like, wouldn't speak. I was that shy. I had maybe 2
friends. And now
friends.
she has a podcast.
Now I won't shut the fuck up. But I made a really, really big conscious effort towards this. Like, when I was younger, I literally had like 2 friends growing up. I would never speak. That was on every report card, that Georgie doesn't speak, she doesn't contribute, and blah, 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 blah. And I remember a friend of mine persuaded me to join a theatre, like a, you know, like a weekend theatre class for kids.
Yes.
And it wasn't actually a particularly great experience. It was really stressful and traumatic, and the person who directed it was kind of racist, and I kept being cast as like weird Chinese caricatures, and it was like all awful. But it got me to like have to be with people I didn't know and be up on stage, and ever since then I've made a really big effort to be more social and talk more. And actually, it doesn't come naturally to me. And actually, I was just on a shoot recently, and I remember saying to a colleague of mine who I got quite close with, of just being like, I get really socially drained. I get socially tired, and I can be really social, but then I really need to be by myself and like recharge my batteries. And I think there are lots of people who are like that, and it's like, that's okay too. Like, you just have to do the best you can, but you are fine and you are great, and you can work on yourself. Like, I'm much more chatty and social now, but I'm not who I am. I've just spent a lot of time working to be able to like exist in a adult social setting. But you can do that as well if that's what you want. You can put in the work and you can get there. But equally, like, everyone has their tribe. You just have to, like, look far and wide enough. And I'd say, like, if you're with people who you're not really feeling, like, go find new people.
Yeah.
There's a world full of people out there.
And that's exactly it. We're talking on International Friendship Day, or Americans' version of it. And the idea is that
for me, it's just a Sunday.
Well, here's what I say is that International Friendship Day is just one day or 1 week or 1 month a year. Let's be friends and friendly to people. You know, there's 365 days. What are you going to do the rest of the time?
Yes.
Some of those days are going to be spent recharging. Some of those days are going to be spent with acquaintances and friends. And some days will be spent with Kates. And those are all great.
But the best days are if you can get a Kate.
Yes, if you can get a Kate. So that's the thing. Maybe we should figure out, you know how they have like apps for dating, and then like Bumble is where women have the power to make the move or whatever, but it also has friendship on there. Maybe we should just have an app for finding a friend that's named Kate.
Finding Kate.
She doesn't really look like a Kate. I'd swipe left.
Kathy? No. Get out of here.
Katie? That's not Kate.
Although Kate also does go by Katie, so she's a dark horse. Can we trust her?
Well, my Kate hates being called Katie, so she is a straight Kate all the way.
Is that the name of the app? Straight Kate.
No, I don't think it's very inclusive if people take like the literal meaning of the word. So we want to be inclusive. But
there's some development still to be had. It's in its beta phase. Give us some time.
Okay, yeah, we're going to have to workshop it. We'll work on it and come back to everyone. Well, this has been great. I think it's nice to catch up with
always
with a friend, whatever tier I might be on. But we both have Kate, so I know we're doing good. And like you, I also need to recharge, which I was doing before we talked, and I might go back to my nap that I was having. But I really appreciate not only your time, but I always feel like you have a lot of important things to say about friendship, and maybe you should be hosting this podcast. And
Georgie's got a lot of opinions. She isn't shy.
No, it's not opinions. It's like really good points, and you're very eloquent with a good F-bomb in there somewhere for emphasis, and I love it.
Oh God, I really need to stop swearing like a sailor.
I do all the time, but I have a pretty good control not to do it in class. I sometimes I can't help it. Sometimes my mom will not be happy.
It's just the best thing. Dropping a good F-bomb is like
fuck yeah, it is. So that's what I say to friendship. Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah, friendship.
Fuck yeah, friendship. Okay, well, thank you so much, Georgie. I appreciate so much.